Hello, it's Michelle from the Purple Pumpkin blog, here today to show you how to make a wrist corsage to wear to a wedding. It's my entry into the Country Baskets Accessorise Yourself crafting competition. Selected bloggers have been asked to take part. Country Baskets are a wedding floristry and craft supply company, and they sent me a hamper of 8 different crafting items, 5 of which I needed to use to make my accessory. I decided to make a wrist corsage because it's something a little bit different. I did initially start making a hair accessory, and to be fair, you could actually turn this into a hair accessory as well, but I thought it was something a little bit different and really quite simple to make, and I will now talk you through how I made it. In fact, I'm going to show you how I made it. I'm going to make another one. These would be great actually for your bridesmaids if you're having a wedding either this summer and you've still not thought about flowers, or you're on a bit of a budget. This would be an ideal little thing for them to wear on their wrists, or even for the little flower girls maybe. It's made with organza, a fake rose there. It's attached to a bit of lace. And it's got some sparkly bits in it as well. So let me show you how I made it, and you'll see actually how easy it is. So let me just pop it at the back. There you go. And then you can just see there, you can see the sparkly jewelry things there. So let me just put that out the way, completely out the way, over here. So let me quickly show you what Country Basket sent to me. They sent me a roll of pinky purpley organza, a whole roll of it actually. So there's tons there. You can make probably, don't know, probably 50 of those little what are they called? Not flowers, but scrunchy things, we'll say. So I'll just put that out of the way a sec. We also got sent a roll of lace, I guess, lace like ribbon, which is what I use to make the wristband part of my corsage. Just wrapped it around my wrist. There was also a little bunch of flowers, which looks like roses, orchids, but they're really pretty, and they go obviously with the organza as well, in colour with the pink in the orchids. We have got some blingy, I don't even know what you would call this, but they're on a big old strand, diamante thingies. So that's those. There is also a big old wire, you can't even see it, it's so long, of jewels and crystals on, it's a massive length, and they're in little batches of 3 as they come off it, so you can easily sort of cut those down to use in various crafts projects. And finally there was a roll of ribbon and some little place cards. Right, the things that I added extra, because we are allowed to do that, are these, and they are little poppy clasp thingies. I do not know the technical name of them. These are so old that I think they may well have belonged to my granddad, who sadly passed away back in 1975. So they are one old product, but I think you can still buy them. I had to ask my mum actually for these. I said, oh mum, I need those poppy thingies. Do you think granddad's sewing box will have them? And she said, I should have a look. My granddad was a tailor, so that's those. And they were the only extra things that I actually used. Oh no, I tell a lie, I also used a needle and thread. But yes, definitely that is all I used. Right, so how do we make one of these? wrist corsages, which I've put up here. There it is. I'll just put it back in shot just for a sec, so you can be reminded of what I made. The first thing you're going to need to do is either measure your wrist, so use a tape measure. Just go all around your wrist, see how the size of it, and then obviously measure up against the lace ribbon to cut it in the right place. To be honest with you, I'm a bit lazy and things like that, so instead of doing that, I just wrap the ribbon around my wrist. I pulled it a little bit tight but not too tight, and then overlapped it just a bit, just for a little bit of give, and cut it where I needed to. Now this does fray on the end, so what I did was I took a lighter and I kind of just burnt along the edges, which kind of seals them off, because it's kind of like a plasticky material. And I did both ends because obviously I've cut. Just to stop it from fraying. You don't want it to unravel and stuff. And I just thought that was the easiest way of doing that. There you go. So obviously be careful if you're using a lighter. Right, the next job are the little poppy whatchamacallit. So unpop them from the casing, and then don't do what I did the first time when I did this, which was put them on incorrectly, which meant I had to stitch them, because I'm going to stitch them to attach them to the ribbon. So let me get some of this thread and oops, thread my needle. There you go. So I don't know if you can see. So what you do is you put, and obviously it depends. It depends how you decide to get them to clasp together. You could use Velcro, I guess, and sew a bit of that on either end. You could use a button actually, because this lace has got sort of holes in it, and you could find a small button that could fit through, but obviously big enough to. And I don't have any buttons to hand, so that's a shame. But yeah, you could use a button. Something else you could use, or you could. To get away with even sewing those on, you could wrap that around, give yourself some extra length, and then just tie it in a bow or something at the back, and then it would just dangle down. But it's entirely up to you. I just suddenly thought of poppers for some reason, so we'll start with the first one. I can't even pick up my needle. That, by the way, is the squeaking of my chair. It needs some WD-40 on it. Right, so make sure I know which way it's going. We'll start off with this end. I'm going to put it, there's actually just like a natural little place for it to go on this, and it's kind of like a bit not trial and error, but you know, yes, this is the way I'm doing it. You might have a different technique. But what you want to do is make sure it's nice and securely on there. So I'm using the bits of lacy, because it's quite delicate, to attach the first bit, so that's on nice and secure. I mean, can you just see the the little holes there, that's where you need to sort of get in and to attach it, and then work your way around into each little hole to attach it all, to attach all of the all the way around the little clasp. Oh, poppy thing sounds better. So there you go. Keep going. I do about 5 or 6 stitches in each one. That way I know it's on there nice and securely. Going through the material of the ribbon, like the lace ribbon, you know, so that it's fixed to something. Right, okay, I think that's the last one. And then you want to just get a knot going so that you can just secure it off. So I kind of just go back through. You probably can't really see it very well, unfortunately. Like I said, you know, just sew until it is nice and secure. This is how I do it, but we all have different techniques and things that work for us. Oops, that's just caught on there, don't want that. And then once you're happy with it, just sort of chop off the excess bit of thread, which I'm going to do shortly. Don't want that there. Right, so get rid of that and of that. Right, so there's the first one. Oops, the first clasp attached, and then you want to obviously make sure you've got the right bit to go in the right section, and you're going to, so when I've got this one on that side, you're going to put the other one on the reverse of the ribbon so that they can attach together. So if you're doing this, making this for someone else, then obviously it's a little bit easier, but if you're making it for yourself, it's a little bit fingers and thumbs to work out where you want the clasp to go. So I wrap it around, I want it to go, right, okay, so there's the one underneath, you can just see it, and then pull it over. That's roughly where I want it to go. So that is going to go here. And then before you start sewing, just make sure you've got it in the right place, and I do. And we're just going to repeat exactly as we did before. Secure it in place first. So get it secured on first, and then you can work your way around each of the little sections to secure it all in place. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so that's that done now. Get my needle out of the way, don't want to lose that. And then just test you've got it in the right place, which hopefully I have. Pop it together. There you go. Right, so there you go. There's your wristband. You might want to cut off the excess at the back. Obviously, we had it there for to see where, just in case we didn't want. I'd rather have it too short than too long. The other way around, too long than too short. because obviously you can trim away anything that's too long. You can't put it back once it's cut. So I'll unpop that. There you go. So that's the wristband done. Job done. Right, so next thing. Right, now we're going to make the ruffly bit of the corsage with the organza. That is really, really easy to make. So here's the organza roll. You can probably barely see it on camera. And I'm going to go about 6 inches for the width. So obviously measure that out and then cut along the first one. And I think in this one I did about 5 or 6 layers. The more layers you've got, the more poofy it's going to be. So I'm going to go with 6. They kind of remind me of my, well, not remind me of, they look like the wedding favours that I made for our wedding, the bonbonniers. I don't have one of those to hand either. Otherwise I would show you. I'll put a picture up now. There you go. That was the picture of what my bonbonnier looked like. They were really fun to make. In fact, actually, that's something else you could use this organza for, like I said, and some of the other bits and bobs to decorate them. That's 1, 2, 3. I'm sure there's probably a quicker way of doing this. But you know, I'm only going because I'm actually going to talking waffle now. Hold on, let me concentrate on doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh my tape measure just fell on the floor. Never mind, don't think we need it again, so just straighten that up. And the last one. Right, so our organza is all cut now into big wide strips, which are about 6 inches, which is about 15 centimeters across, and lengthwise, which is the length of the roll, it's about 11 and a half inches, which is 29, 30 centimeters length. It will just depend on the roll, but you know, if you're buying sheets of organza, which I know you can do, that's roughly the size. So far we've used 1, 2 things to make our wrist corsage, which is just there out of shot. We've used the lace ribbon, we've used the pinky purpley organza, and around the to keep sort of to get that bow-y look, you need something to tie it, which is ribbon. So there you go, there's our third thing now. So you want a length of that, you know, 6 inches, 15 centimeters ish. Just chop it off. That's all we're going to use that for. So now to make this poofy bow, I don't even know what to call it. Right, so layer all the organza on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if you remember when you were younger, you may have made paper fans, and the best way to describe that is though you're making a paper fan with a concertina fold. So you want about, let me measure, I really rarely measure anything, it's terrible, about 1 inch, which is 2 centimeters ish folds. So fold one way, fold back on itself, flip it over, and sort of keep going until you reach the end of the piece of organza. Doesn't have to be perfect unless you want to make it perfect. Keep going. There you go. So that's it. A little bit of extra, fold that back. Okay, so now you've got your concertina fan thing. So take a bit of ribbon and have a look, see where the middle is, just roughly there, and tie your ribbon to make like a bow tie. You see? And you want to do it quite tightly. And double knot it at the back. Now to secure that more in place, you could add a few stitches. I'm not going to. I'm confident enough that it will stay in place. You know, you could always add a third knot, which I will do. Why not? Haha. Okay, there you go. And just cut off the excess ribbon. One bit, two bit. And like I said, you can always sort of stitch through just to keep it sort of doubly secure. Right, now that you've got your bow tie of organza, the next thing you want to do is cut the ends to round them off to kind of make them look like petals. So just sort of group them all together and taking scissors, a good sharp pair, you want to just cut around in a petalish sort of shape. Cut off any extras. Right, that's that first one done. Just get that out of the way. And then the other side as well. That's those bits done. Let's get rid of the excess. Is that quite in the middle still? I'm not really sure. Depends obviously how accurate you were with your initial cutting. Some might still be a bit, but you know, life's too short to worry too much about these things. I'm pleased enough with that. Now, I have seen people online when I've looked in the past burning the edges of the organza. Now I'm assuming that that is to stop it from fraying. Now, yes, you could do that. I'm not gonna, simply because I think I did try it on another piece and I wasn't overly convinced. However, if you do decide to do it, don't use a lighter like I am. Get a candle, because then you won't have to worry about it always being on. But you kind of just go close to the edges so it kind of doesn't burn it, but just melts it slightly. I mean, you're not even going to see really. But yeah, I mean, the decision is yours. I'm not going to do it, but if you want to, by all means, do so. I don't think it makes too much of a difference. In fact, could I still fray it? I don't know, I'm struggling to fray it as it is, so you might be okay. But it's entirely up to you, like I said. So, right, we've now got our cut bow tie, and we want to fan it out first to each other to make like a round flowery thing shape. And then we want to bring it to life and foof it up. So you start with the top layer of organza and you pull it up towards the centre on both sides. And as you pull up, because it's quite tight close to the edges, or close to the centre rather, you need to sort of hold down on the bottom. It becomes apparent as you do it, to be honest. It's not that difficult. And obviously just work your way around each layer. So you could work one side first and then the other. You might find a different way of doing it. As you can see, I keep changing my mind. What's the best way? But you want to get it nice and full and poofy. So that's one side done. And then the other. This is a good technique to make. You can make larger ones than this actually, which are really nice hanging decorations for parties, for weddings, christenings, baby showers. Right, so there we've got our poofy thing. I really don't know what to call it. Organza flowery, what's it? I don't know. But yeah, so actually that's ended up poofier than that one. In fact, I think I prefer this one. So with that done, the next job is the flower. Now the flower is going to be your choice, whichever one you prefer. Like I said, I've got roses and I think that's an orchid. I've already made one with a rose, so I'm going to knock one out with a orchid. And for that, you want to go back to the centre of this and don't panic at the moment, because I did find on this one that it was a little bit too spread out. So what I did was I added a little couple of stitches just to hold them together. I think you can just see. So we've got our foliage, we've got our fake flower or faux flower, and the stalk as well, which we want to literally put through the ribbon, because that will just give it that extra bit of hold. There you go. Because what we're going to do with this is sew it to the wristband. Now, there you go. You might think that is a bit too much, in which case, you know, get rid of some of the leaves. They do tend to. I'll show you on this one actually. You can sort of take them off. There you go. So use what you want. I am a bit over the top. I really quite like that, but in doing that, I don't see the. Let me see. You know, I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to just take that out and then deconstruct this bit of. I quite like. Oh, do I like those ones? Oops. Let's reconstruct our flower. You know, this is trial and error and to your personal tastes. Right, as you know, or as you will have been watching, you've been watching me demonstrate how I made my wrist corsage. However, my video must have got corrupted, so the last part of it has got no sound, and I can't even get it to play now, which is really irritating me, because obviously I've already made this. So what I'm going to do is just talk you through the final few steps. and you have to excuse the light as well, I'm afraid, because it's going to pour down with rain by the looks of things. It's got very dark here, and I've had to turn my side light on, which is not the best, and I can see in the quality of the video as well. But there's nothing I can do about that, and it's at least I want to get it finished and show you how this is made. So we got to the point where I had attached the flower. I did change my mind from the orchid to a rose in the end, and just to prove that I have got my two here, they're both there that I've done. Right, so I wrapped the flower around. What I did was on the back I put some stitches in to secure it in place around the ribbon, and then I got some of the dangly crystal jewel things, wrapped those around as well, and just sort of manipulated them to wherever I wanted them to go. And then finally on the back, before attaching the lace wristband, I put a few stitches in to sort of keep the edges of the ruffly flower together. Or did I do it on both sides? Yeah, it looks like I did it on both sides. And then finally I found the middle of the wristband approximately, sewed it into place, and that is it. So it will go on my wrist or on your wrist when you make one. Easy enough to clasp together. There we go. And that's how you make a wedding wrist corsage, which can also be used. You could add it to a hair clip, maybe this sort of thing, since I have one to hand. You could hot glue it on actually, and that would go up in your hair, or to a headband. So that's my entry into the Country Baskets Accessorise Yourself competition, using 5 of the items which were in my crafting hamper, and they were the lace ribbon, the purpley pinky organza, faux flowers, the ribbon which went around the centre of my organza flower, and the crystal jewel mirror wire dangly whatsits. Of course, as I've said several times through this segment of my video, obviously I can't help that the stupid thing corrupted, so irritating. But anyway, that's how you make a wedding corsage. I think I've already said that. A wrist corsage, and please do subscribe to my channel. The link will be here somewhere, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed watching, even though it was a bit screwy at the end, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye.